Having understood mathematical operations and built-in functions, we can now move on to a very important concept in programming: variables. So far, we've worked with all kinds of values such as integer values. This is the value 24,000. Now, this is a value. Notice the terms that I'm using. You can subtract two values and get a result that is also a value. 24,000 minus 10,000 will give you 14,000. Let's perform another mathematical operation. 14,000 minus 5,000. This gives you the value 9,000. Let's say you wanted to use this computed result 9,000 in another place, you would have to recompute it. 9,000 isn't stored anywhere. And that is where the importance of variables comes in. Variables in a programming language are basically just containers which hold values. And these values can be anything: numbers, strings, computed results, anything. Once a container holds a value, the value that container holds can be updated later on in that program, because it is a wrapper or a holder of a value. That value can be changed. And this is how you would initialize a variable in Python. Here, salary is a variable, and notice how it is made up of alphanumeric characters which are not in quotes. The equal to operator assigns a value to a variable. Here the value 24,000 is assigned to the container or variable salary. And if you type out salary, the value held in salary will be printed out to screen, which is 24,000. Within a Jupyter Notebook cell, when you type out a variable, the value held within that variable will be printed to screen. Let's give some meaning to the mathematical operations that we performed earlier. Your salary is 24,000. The house rent that you pay is 10,000 and your food expenses are 5,000. House rent is a variable that stores the value 10,000. Food underscore x is a variable that stores the value 5,000. And if you simply type out house rent within your code cell, the value held within it will be printed to screen. Let's try the same thing with food exp. And you can see that what is displayed on screen is 5,000. Now that we have values stored within all of these containers, we can do interesting things. The total expense that you incur is the sum of house rent plus food expenses. Observe how you sum house rent plus food expenses. This will add up the values in those two variables and assign the result to the variable total expense. Python will perform the addition operation on the values within house rent and food expenses and store the result in total expense. When we type out total expense, the result will be displayed. As you can see, it's 15,000. So if your total expenses are $15,000, what are your savings? You can perform another calculation to get this information. You have your salary, you subtract your total expenses from the salary and store the result in the savings variable. Simply type out savings within your code cell to see the value that it holds. You can see that total savings that we have is 9,000. Let's now use the print built-in function that we've seen before. But this time we'll invoke the print function with two arguments. These arguments are separated by a comma. The first argument is a string which simply says my savings in a year is, followed by a colon, that is the string in quotes. The second argument to the built-in function is our variable savings. So the built-in function will take in the value of savings and print this out to screen in a concatenated manner. My savings in a year is $9,000. Let's work with some more variables so that we get used to this idea of containers for our values. Course fee is the variable which holds the value 299. Num of months is a variable that holds the value 6. Variable names in Python can be made up of uppercase and lowercase letters. So A to Z all uppercase, A to Z lowercase, digits 0 to 9, and the character underscore. No other characters are allowed in variable names. In addition, a variable name cannot start with a digit. It has to start with either underscore or a letter. Let's perform a few operations using these variables. The total fee is the course fee for a month multiplied by number of months. So instead of using values directly, you can use the variables and print out the value of the result using the print function. Total fee is the variable on the left side of the assignment operator equal to which holds the result of this calculation, which is 1794. We'll now create two more variables, num underscore 1 and num underscore 2, and assign the value 2 to both of these variables. Let's invoke the print function, and this time we want to print out a computed result, num1 plus num2. Python will first calculate the result, which is 4, and the print function will print 4 out to screen. The result that was calculated as an input to the print function wasn't really stored anywhere. If you want to store a result permanently for the duration of your program, you need to store it to a variable such as total here. Now, if you print out the value of total, you can see that it contains 4, the result of num1 plus num2. Python supports string concatenation using the plus operator. So you can concatenate two strings day and light by simply using the plus operation, and you get the result daylight. But what if you try to perform such an operation on two different types of values? So you have num1, which is assigned the number 2, and num2, which is assigned the string 2. Remember, anything in quotes is a string, even if it's a numeric value in quotes. Now, if you try to perform the operation num1 plus num2, you'll find that Python does not understand what it is you want to do. This is an error. It is an unsupported operand. Plus is not supported between an integer value and a string value. How do we know the types are mismatched? Well, you can use the type function. Type of num1 is an integer, it's not in quotes, and type of num2 is of type str or string because this value is in quotes.